Retiring members who may wish to speak, Shri N.K. Singh.
Thank you very much, sir. I thank you profoundly for the privilege of being able to speak today on this farewell occasion. First and foremost, sir, I'm profoundly grateful to you for all the accommodation, for the kindness and courtesy which you have shown to the Honorable Deputy Chairman, to his predecessor, who of course was very generous in abstaining the use of the famous bell in trying to remind me of the time, to the leader of the opposition, who has been a source of great strength, to the deputy leader, to leaders of the regional parties, and of course to the members of the Treasury bench, particularly the Prime Minister, who has always been a source of encouragement. So much so, sir, that on one occasion I remember that he assumed the role of a teacher in correcting me in having wrongly attributed a quotation to John Kenneth Galbraith instead of to John Maynard Keynes. So there have been high moments. There have been moments of disappointment. One has had the privilege of participating in some of the most glorious debates in this House. I myself, sir, had the privilege of speaking on some of the most important issues of our time, on issues of environment, on WTO, on making contribution in the Standing Committee. This House has seen extraordinary heights of amazingly high-quality debate. It has also witnessed some amazingly lows. But I'm always reminded of what Confucius has said, that our glory lies not in never falling, but our glory lies in rising every time we fall. Much later, of course, Mahatma Gandhi in 1917 has said that if we do have a parliament, what shall we do? If we have one, we will have one. But if we have one, we will have the freedom to create mistakes, we will have the liberty to err, and we will have the power to amend those when we have erred. This is described as one way in which you can define Swaraj. So everybody will agree that this House has, of course, enjoyed the definition of Swaraj given by Mahatma Gandhi in the fullest sense of the term. Let me say at the outset, thank my party, the Janata Dal United, and Shri Nitish Kumar for the opportunity and the privilege he gave me to be in this House and to bring up issues which are relevant to the endemic backward development of Bihar. Indeed, in the last few years, Bihar has seen extraordinary economic and social changes, come up from being a basket case to a case in which we are trying to now compete with the best. Of course, let me also say that in all fairness, this is not the contribution of one party or of one person. This is the contribution of the National Development Alliance, which my party was an alliance partner till June last year. And this is the contribution of the collective political leadership of both the parties which constituted the NDA. Indeed, sir, as I look to India, the 5 critical issues will look to me to be the important issues of our time. First and foremost, and the Prime Minister knows this better than anybody else, that what we have learnt in the 21st century is that the forces of economic liberalization create virtuous circles of competition, improve total factor productivity, improve growth strengths. At the same time, they also create inequalities. They create social tensions. They really create problems for societal cohesion. Does India have a model in which we can have a more conscionable capitalism, which combines the virtues of economic growth with minimizing the incidence of income inequality? Capitalism, sir, in the 21st century has rediscovered itself many a time. It has metamorphosed, and the words of Joseph Schumpeter, indulged in creative destruction to improve upon the models of growth. People are now talking about a capitalism 5.0, but I ask myself the question, can we have a capitalism 6.0, which is a more conscionable capitalism, which combines the virtues of productivity, factor efficiency, virtues of economic growth, at the same time being able to have a degree of compassion to address the needs of a society like ours. The second important burning issue, sir, of our time is the reform of the governance rubric. The centerpiece, of course, of the reform of governance rubric is reforming Parliament itself. Nobody can reform Parliament except we ourselves, sir, sitting in this House. Parliament needs a reform because as India becomes increasingly interdependent in the world, we must ask ourselves the question, are the old rules and procedures adequate to meet the needs of an interdependent India? Are, for instance, the superintendence over the working of the executive adequate enough to meet the challenging needs of the 21st century? Sir, the Constitution was written at a time when India was not so interdependent. So the superintendence over the executive was a different story than the problems which we confront today. This, for instance, to give one illustrative example, is it proper for the executive to enter into far-reaching international agreements on trade, on environment, on energy, which has only Parliament's ex post facto approval and not an ante engagement? So is the process of budget making should be masked in dark secrecy. With the parliamentary engagement, sir, is always ex post and not ex ante. Should not Parliament, sir, find one day to debate and discuss the deliberations of a 5-year plan which determines the fortunes of this country for the 5 years to say? These are, sir, issues which you need to ponder upon. These are, sir, issues which are so germane that we need a reform of the parliamentary system. Third, sir, and I will finish as quickly, sir, I do not wish to impinge on the time of others. The changing role of the...
Today there will be no bell, sir.
Please continue.
The changing role of the state, sir. We must ask ourselves the question that given the limited delivery capacity of the state, is the state taking on responsibilities which are far too onerous? Have we, sir, embraced a form of new welfarism in which we are now giving legal entitlements when the capacity of the state to give the kind of effective delivery system is increasingly in question? Have we embraced a new form of welfarism in which we are a typical example in which a country with the kind of per capita income which we have has embraced a new form of welfarism, perhaps too prematurely, in giving legal entitlements in the enforcement, even though the absence of social security system no doubt enjoined the state with that responsibility? Can these be balanced out? Fourth, can the conundrum between agriculture, industry, services and employment be broken? Comparative factor advantages, sir, is that whereas India has 1/6 of the global population, we have only 1/20 of the geographical area. The pressure of population on land requires the externalities of scale, the use of modern technology into agriculture, and yet unless we find alternative employment opportunities for people who have to be taken out of agriculture, which require challenges in creating manufacturing hubs, in creating employment possibilities which go beyond rhetoric, sir. India has not created the kind of manufacturing hubs. We do not have the rules, regulations which enable us to make manufacturing hubs and to create employment opportunities, sir, which will give India's youth a gainful employment opportunity. So as I see this conundrum between manufacturing, between agriculture, between employment, and between orderly urbanization as one of the key challenges of our time. Finally, sir, can we make India an innovation society? I ask myself this question, sir, because the old paradigms do not fit our compelling needs. I ask this question, sir, because old solutions may not be relevant to the urgency of our needs and to the contradictions of our time which India is encountering. Can we therefore use the power of science and technology and its ability to be able to solve some of these contradictions and to come to an orderly solution to the conundrums, some of which I have mentioned? Finally, sir, let me end on an optimistic note. Let me read out to you, sir, what Lord Northbrook, speaking in the 1930s, had cursed us with. And I quote, therefore, from what Lord Northbrook had said at that time, speaking in the House of Lords, and I quote him: "To think that India, with all its vastness and differences in religion, languages, and castes, would ever be able to work a parliamentary institution is the wildest dream that has entered the mind of man. Unquote, sir. And the only effective answer, sir, which was given was by Sir Anthony Eden, when he replied much later, and I quote from Anthony Eden, when he went on to say, "Of all the experiments in government which have been attempted since the beginning of time, I believe that the Indian venture into parliamentary government is the most exciting. A vast subcontinent is attempting to apply to its tens and thousands of millions a system of free democracy. It is a brave thing to try and do. The Indian venture is not a pale imitation of our practice at home, but a magnified and multiplied reproduction on a scale which we have never dreamt. If it succeeds, it will influence Asia. It will be incalculable for the good of mankind. Whatever the outcome, we must honor the attempt of those who have attempted." Sir, we have proved Anthony Eden to be right. We have proved Lord Northbrook to be wrong. I have been privileged and honored to be a part of this House, which is really a critical role in the endeavor of the kind of endeavor we are making. I will end by saying, sir, what Albert Einstein had once said. Everything which counts cannot be counted, but not everything which can be counted counts. I have no doubt, sir, that the Rajya Sabha will continue to count in multiple ways in the shaping of a new India and in shaping the dream of a better future. Sir, a farewell is necessary before you can meet again, and meeting again after moments or lifetimes is certain among those who are friends. As I, sir, join the Alumni Association of the Rajya Sabha, I look forward to my continued interaction with all the great friends which I and whom I have been privileged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bharat Kumar Rath.